Welcome to Canada's podcast, the number one podcast for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs.
Hi, everyone. This is Sandra, Canada's podcast host for Québec, for the province of Quebec. Today, I'm with Kristian Hansen and Jake Robitaille, the co-founder of MNTN Co. So thanks for being with us today. And I'll let you, we'll start right away with, can you introduce yourself and why are you here on the podcast today?
All right. Well, thank you for having us. First of all, Sandra. My name's Jake. I am co-founder and CCO of MNTN. I've been there for about 8 or 9 months now. And then to my right, Kristian Hansen, our founder. I'll let him introduce himself.
Kristian, I've been at MNTN now. This is going on 3 years. Super excited to be here and discuss, our journeys and entrepreneurship. And thanks very much for having us. Much appreciated.
Wonderful. So it's quite uncommon that we have two guests at the same time, but I'm sure you guys work together, so we'll have a great dynamic here. So maybe one by one, tell us, what is your journey? How did you become the entrepreneur that you are today?
Go first? Sure.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been an entrepreneur pretty much my entire life. I started businesses when I was 10 years old, and I've just always loved that dynamic of building a business from scratch and creating something and working for myself. And, I'd rather work, 80 hours a week for myself than 40 for anybody else. And I've always had that, kind of philosophy. So this is my third startup now. It's been a long road, but every time something works, every time something doesn't work, we learn from it, we build, and it's been a really rewarding experience so far. I had a great opportunity. I went to high school in the States, went to a fantastic school, Pomfret School. Then I continued on University of Pennsylvania, and that's where I've been getting my business background for the last few years. It's just been kind of a step-by-step building business after business, and then just trying to kind of excel every single time. So that's kind of been my journey so far. I don't see myself ever doing anything else. I think I'm always going to be a bit of a serial entrepreneur, and whether that's with this startup or the next, there's always going to be something in the pipeline, I think.
And Are your startups always in the same industry, or you've tried many things? What have been your startups in the past?
Yeah, so I started a social network initially. That was the first time, right around the time when Instagram and all those new networks were popping up. So that's obviously being a huge undertaking. We had a huge team out in Silicon Valley. It was fantastic, but it just didn't really catch fire the way that we wanted it to. We had an opportunity to be acquired for some of the technology that we were creating. So we just figured, it's just at this point, the chances of kind of growing this thing bigger than we wanted to, it's just not really going to happen. So we then moved into building artificial intelligence marketing technology. So building, AI that helps people build social media systems, social media management systems. And so I used kind of the skills that I learned from the first one to build the second one. And now that we've kind of pivoted and transitioned into clothing and consumer goods, we're really kind of building it out in a completely different way, where it's very data driven. It's very, I joke with Jake all the time, say we're building a tech company that sells clothes. And so that's been, kind of our experience with that so far.
That's great. Wonderful. And what about you, Jake? So
my path to entrepreneurship is a little bit different than Kristian. Kristian, I think, is entrepreneurship at heart. Never wanted to work for anybody else than himself. For me, it's a little bit different. I did the whole schooling and, gotten my bachelor's degree in communications at the University of Montreal. And then during that time, had a bunch of, little university jobs, got some experience here and there. Had an internship for Merck Pharmaceuticals in their marketing department. And then when I graduated, went on to the 9-to-5 grind for about a year and a half, doing something completely different than sustainability. The switch to sustainability for me was a 180. I've always been aware of it. It's always been important, but I was selling kind of chemicals for a chemical manufacturer, which terrible 9-to-5 job, which I really hated, while he was over here living the entrepreneurship life. And I was just appealing to me. He was talking to me about it and sounded like a great opportunity to actually use my diploma and stuff that I've learned to apply it kind of on my own and kind of lead the team that I'm leading today and work with what I studied. So I got that opportunity and been doing it for about 8 or 9 months now, the entrepreneurship, and I got away from that 9-to-5, sitting in traffic every morning. Back pain at 23, 24, sitting in a chair all day is really not what I wanted. So here we are now.
Wonderful. So before we go further into that dynamic and how you guys met and how does it work to to work together in this company. Like, tell us about your company and the vision that you have for it. Like, what are you guys doing?
For sure. Yeah. So, I mean, the idea behind Mountain is essentially to try and make sustainable clothing accessible to people. And essentially, there's been hundreds of sustainable clothing companies, sustainable, fabrics. They've been around for a very long time. But we found as an issue being, when we were that target market when we were in university, people don't have $75 to spend on a t-shirt, but that's the market that really wants to champion that movement. Young people are so fired up right now about trying to make a difference in this world and trying to end that corporate greed and kind of create a new form of eco-conscious capitalism. But the problem with it, really is it's not accessible. And so I said to Jake, you know what, we need to forget profit margins, forget building a business where we line our own pockets. We need to put as much product as we can out there in the world that helps the world. And so that's really our idea is just let's match the prices of our competitors, but build a significantly more sustainable, product and a sustainable solution where we're donating with every purchase and allowing people to, really wear and feel like they're a part of the movement towards environmentalism.
So you say you've been working on this company for 3 years, and so describe us, where are you at now and where do you want to be in the next couple of years?
For sure. I mean, right now we're in a really exciting time. Everything is really, coming together. I'm a big advocate of planning, even a little bit too much in some sense. Some of our investors are like, all right, come on, let's go. And I like to have every single avenue mapped out. And so we're getting ready to do our first, actually large scale global launch where we're going to be able to sell all around the world. We're about to go into manufacturing for that, which is incredibly exciting. We finally nailed down what I believe is the most sustainable fabric in the world. I've explored almost 15 different countries, 25, 30 different manufacturing, facilities all around the world, 20 different trade shows. We finally have something we're incredibly proud of. It looks good, it feels good, and we know it's sustainable. So that's coming out soon. And then on top of that, we just launched our media subsidiary. So we have Mountain Media as well, which is building really positive social media, which is going to eventually branch into the opportunity where we're going to travel around the world and showcase different places and help people build perspective on places that maybe they would never even heard of. And so we're really trying to build a movement based on positivity and sustainability and everything that, we truly believe that the world needs to move in a more positive direction.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. And for you, Jake, as the chief communication officer, you move from chemicals to selling this. How does that feel?
It feels really good. I mean, it didn't feel good when I was selling chemicals. It was not the best situation for myself. I mean, being a millennial and kind of being more in tune with all these issues that are happening currently, and the environment is at the forefront. Especially for me, every political campaign will wait till, unfortunately for the debate that are going on, that's at the end. So you have to enjoy the entire thing until the end. But those are the issues that we have at heart. So it was even more of a selling factor for me to hop into this project because, we were doing something, or I was personally doing something that, I didn't feel fulfilled. And, now I've 180'd and kind of coming onto this journey and seeing what we do. We're trying to educate. We're trying to pump the world with better products, with more of an idea of what's going on. Kind of educate and donate to environmental and social causes that we have at heart. So it feels really good. It's like a palate cleanser for my soul. It's quite nice.
That's great. I love that. And talking about that, so how did you it seems like you guys knew each other before being together on the company. How did that happen?
So it's a funny story. I'll tell it. It's quite nice. I was 18 and it was just a regular trip down to the Bahamas with my mom for kind of a summer getaway. And I met him when he was 16. We're playing beach volleyball. And we, we just kind of kicked it off that week. We hung out. He was a little bit younger than myself, but, we stayed friends. We kept in touch. And during one of my internships at Merck, we had a friend that we had in common from Pomfret, from his school. And then we just kind of rekindled that friendship. And then having him come and go from Montreal, we managed to see each other a bit more. And he was going off on these entrepreneurship journeys, and I was going on my regular kind of my own personal journey. And we kept in touch, and finally we moved in together here, and we launched the business completely, and we're all in.
Great. So Kristian, like what had you choose Jake? I think that like finding good partners or being able to see why it would be a good fit. Like what were your criteria? Or what was your gut telling you about, okay, this is going to be a great journey together?
It's kind of a funny story. It's almost out of a movie in a way. We, when I first met Jake, I was actually working on my first ever startup, and super young. And I remember writing down. I still have it in a little notebook. Meeting this guy, the charisma. He's the definition of a people person. I say it all the time. I think this guy is going to be one of the top 10 communications executives in North America for the rest of his career. And I knew that right away. And I could just see it in the way that he interacted with people. And it didn't matter if we were talking to someone who was 40 years old and, some executive from some company, this guy, he had that the communication factor. And I wrote down on a piece of paper when I was 16 years old under a little column that said keys to success. And the top column says hire Jake Robitaille. And literally, and so to this day, I still have that. And so when when we were building and we just realized, I need a partner to do this, immediately, we were great friends. We had always had a great dynamic. And I just thought right away, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go back on my keys to success from when I was 16 years old. I think there's something there. So called him up, said, hey, let's go get a drink. I got something to tell you. And we went and had a drink. And I said, hey, this is what I want you to do. And that, the rest is history.
That's really great. That's really great. And so you guys live together too. Like, let's talk about keys to success. So like, what are the key to success to actually starting a business, growing it to be a, worldwide node company, and at the same time living together? So what are your boundaries, keys to success? Why does it work?
So it was one of the first things as soon as we moved in to establish a few boundaries. We're lucky enough to have our own office in here because COVID's been a little bit of a pain, but we settled in nicely here. And one of the things was we're going to work in this space, but that's where it stops. Is you pass that door and then the work stops. We'll keep talking about work, but if we butt heads and it happens, there's things that we don't agree on. It stays within that space and that perimeter. And it's been working very well so far. What happens in the house stays in the house, and what happens in the office stays in the office. It's kind of, we don't have the hour commute and traffic, but as soon as we cross that door, it's business, and we step out, then it's more of a lax environment. And if anything happens where we need to take it into the office, we will. But we've managed to kind of set a couple ground rules that keep us in track, and we try to stay in check of those rules.
Anything you want to add, Kristian?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really helps for us because we're very similar personalities in a lot of ways. So we work a lot, and that's fine, and we like that. We'll work at dinner, we'll work through through the day, but we're also very good at those times where Jake will just be like, I'm done for the day, and that's completely fine. And I know I could be pretty intense, as can he. And, but I think it's really important for us that, we're just super honest. It just comes down to, yeah, you know what, like this was a crazy day. I started at, at 7:00 this morning, I'm done. And that's totally fine. And, some days on a Sunday, it's just like, he'll straight up just be like, I just need today. And, that's totally fine that I pick up the slack. And there's days during the week where I'm like, I need you to do this. And, it's been a really good give and take and a great dynamic. And it definitely helps when, we're in the same office and he's just right there and I can say, hey, what do you think about this? And that's been a huge, huge impact or had a huge impact on our productivity and kind of our success in the last few weeks since we moved in. So pretty excited about it.
So setting boundaries and respecting that sometimes you're like, okay, I'm done. And, let's talk about this later.
Yeah.
That's great. And, a lot of people are talking about how to integrate their own values into their company, like sustainable entrepreneurship. We hear it all the time. Like, it seems like you've done a lot of research to make sure you found the right fabric and the right people to partner up with internationally to really fulfill the mission of your company. But if people are listening and they're wondering, like, how do I do this? How do I make sure that I make my company or I build my company to be sustainable or actually add those values into my company that are already started? Like, have you discovered anything that would be worth sharing with people listening?
For sure. I think that at the end of the day, it just comes down to not being afraid to break the mold that exists in every industry right now. so many of these, of the kind of traditional industries, including the fashion industry, no one has disrupted this industry in hundreds of years. It's always been exactly the same way. It's about profit margins. It's about finding the cheapest product, about using the cheapest facility to put out the mass amount of product. And I think that if your values do not align with an industry, that you can reinvent that industry, and that's completely okay. And that's what entrepreneurship is all about. It's all about breaking boundaries. It's all about changing things and saying, hey, we don't have to do this the way that other people have been doing this for years and years and years. And so that's really what we did. And we said, you know what, that's fine. We don't care if, instead of having a 75% margin and destroying the planet, I would rather have a 30% margin and know that every single product that's going out in the world, or even less, that's why our slogan is planet over profit. And, it's not about lining our pockets. And that's a very, very different thing in the industry. And so for anyone that, is really actively trying to build a business based on their values, no matter whether that's, social causes, the environment, there are solutions out there. And there's an answer to everything as technology continues to develop every single day. But it's really about kind of getting away from that natural kind of dichotomy of this is how businesses work. This is how they're supposed to be built. This is what you do, the 9-to-5 corporate life, and you just grow and you build and you sell. And so, for anyone that wants to embed values into that, don't follow the status quo. Build what you want to build, and you can do that because we live in a world that allows us to do that, and that's a huge privilege that we have.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, that's great. And you guys, as you said, you're living in Montreal. So, but you live all over the world. And Kristian, you're from Calgary, Alberta. So like, why did you choose Montreal? Like, why is it the best place to be, even though most of your business production is in the States, if I correct?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm originally from Calgary, but I grew up overseas in Dubai, and I've been bouncing around ever since. And, I was in the States for school. And so, thankfully, my dad's a pilot. So growing up, I was all over the place all the time. So traveling and kind of being on the move was always a really big thing for me. But so I just kind of figured, we need to take the right step. I have extended family here. My grandparents live in Montreal. So I've been coming to Montreal kind of my whole life. Jake was here. And so, about 8 or 9 months ago when I was looking, okay, we need to just, get in one place. I was saying to Jake, hey, do you want to come to me or do you want me to come to you? And we just kind of had a conversation, and it made the most sense given the fact that, Jake's from here, I know the city, we know the city. And so we just said, you know what, we got to go all in on this. I'm going to move to Montreal. We'll move in together. We'll really, we'll take it and run. And so it's been great so far.
Great. And Jake, you've been in Montreal for quite a couple of years. So like maybe a different question for you would be like, where do you go? Because you guys live together, work in the same apartment. So where do you like to go in Montreal to actually like re-energize or like think about something else than business, or sometimes think about business, but in a different environment? Like, what are your favorite places?
Well, it's funny you say that. We just moved into Point St. Charles, which is, gentrifying by the day. The whole kind of southeast of Montreal is a great area, which I didn't know before we actually moved in, or the last few months. And it turns out to be a phenomenal area. It's super lively. It's very young. Just even walk around the streets, the architecture is super nice. The restaurants and the bars, unfortunately, which are closed now, but we had some opportunity to enjoy them beforehand. The parks and all that stuff in the winter. You can go to the local rink and skate. And he's a hockey player, so looking forward to shooting the puck around, or we go skiing where we can. But in Montreal, I mean, the other day we went for I think it was a 20-kilometer walk up and around. We went up Atwater, and then we up in through the mountain, and then we came back down, and we got Schwartz's. We were up down Saint Laurent, and it just took the whole day. But it's such a beautiful city. I've been here for the last 14 years now. My dad's from here originally. I was born and raised in France, and had the chance to live in England a little bit as well before coming here. But most of my family's here. I love it here. It's French and English, which I'm bilingual. I went to French school. And my family and friends are here. So it's just, Montreal's home for me right now. So, it's just all around a phenomenal city. I've only got good things to say about it.
That's great. And earlier, Kristian, you mentioned that, this is not your first startup. This won't be your last. Like, what is your vision for your personal life? And Jake, I know you joined the entrepreneurial life a couple of months ago, but maybe you do have a vision for yourself or a difference you want to make in the world. It seems like you're very engaged in like making a change. So like, what do you see your journey will look like if we talk in like 10 years from now?
You know, I've kind of got a bit of a 10-year plan in that regard. I mean, I
The
really
plan
want
there, right?
yeah, you know, it's at the end of the day, the mountain brand that we're building. I think we want to become a very powerful brand in sustainability. I want to become synonymous with sustainability, where people see our branding and people know us, and they know that we're not cutting corners. They know that we are, you know, we're here to help the planet. We're here to make a difference. We're here to help people. And so over the next 10 years, I'd love to expand into other industries, but continue with that strong mountain brand. My end goal realistically is to get into energy. Energy has always been something to me that's incredibly important. I think it could change the world. I've been working a lot on developing a solar system that is, you know, it's more efficient than essentially what we have right now. Lots of great friends who are fantastic engineers in that, you know, that department. So, you know, about 10 years from now, I hope we're having a conversation about mountain energy, and we're providing free energy all over the world. That's my hope, is to be able to provide remote energy to developing economies all around the world and stabilize these developing economies. Because, you know, the more places around the world that we can lift out of poverty, and that we can lift out of these different, you know, issues that they've had over the years, I think a lot of those issues come down to the reliability of internet, reliability of infrastructure, and reliability of energy. And so for us, clothing is the first step. Clothing is a bit of an easy sell. People buy it every day. They want it. You know, there's a consumer market for it always. But we really want to develop that to the point where we're maximizing our impact. And I think, you know, that's kind of the direction that I'm going.
That's great. Very, very inspiring. That's for sure. Thanks, Kristian. And what about you, Jake?
Hopefully, you know, I mean, I say hopefully, but I think it's stay involved in the cause. Wherever Mountain goes, I hope I'm there for the ride. You know, we're lucky to have some interns that are really, really involved in the cause as well. And it's great because it shows us that a lot of people want to do good and want to follow this trajectory, and we're that outlet. So hopefully we can keep growing, and we can keep working with people that are, you know, engaged, that care about the cause, that want to do good for the world. And I think that's where Mountain's going in the next 10 years is, you know, if we can have a foothold in the market and be that brand that is sustainable and that is transparent and that is trying to change the world, that's hopefully where I'll be in 10 years, surrounded by people that care about the same cause and that do the things we do, and that want to succeed in the way that we're succeeding, and just, you know, do better for the world.
Wonderful. Well, I'm sure that there's people listening want to hear more about you, but we got, you know, the interview is coming to an end. Is there anything else you'd like to share with people? I know you're really engaged. You have a great vision, building a big company, you know, but like, is there any advice or anything else you'd like to share with people listening?
You know, I think something that for me for a long time, and I think Jake as well, it was a bit of a barrier for building this business, was thinking that, you know, either people wouldn't care or that it was going to fail. And that was always something that's just like, oh, you know, this, we're not ready for this yet. We're not ready for this yet, you know, as a society, as a world. And, you know, I had a lot of fantastic professors and people and my family, and, you know, they just said, do it, you know, do it and see. And so I would love, you know, if anyone out there is listening, you know, I had an opportunity to listen to some podcasts over the years where people said, just do it, just build it. If you have an idea, even if it's on a napkin, literally, it doesn't matter where it is right now, just do it, because we have an unbelievable opportunity here in North America, especially in Canada, with the amazing people and the amazing business culture that we have here. Just go for it, because the worst thing that can happen is it fails. And that means you learn something, you take it to the next one, you keep going. And, you know, that's been my experience. It's contagious. You love it. You just keep doing it. And, you know, I needed that push from somebody. And I really hope that even if we can get one person out there in the world who's listening to just do it, you know, that would be amazing for me.
Yeah. I mean, I was that one person. He got me onto this train, kind of going the more traditional route. I know some people may be scared to jump into it. You know, it's nice and it's comfortable to have a 9-to-5. You have a job, you have security, you have income. And it is scary. It's something that's, you know, that's frightening to go kind of into the unknown. But beyond that wall of fear is, you know, great success, and it's always kind of the fruit of life. And I think that leap that I took was a great one. I mean, you know, you have to have some sort of, you know, financial background if, you know, you're gonna do this. You know, I've saved some money and stuff just in case for rainy days, and I think it's always super important. Some people are saying, well, what am I going to do about money? So if you have a 9-to-5, save up as much as you can, you know, strategize, and then, if it's something that you want to do, I think you should do it. Just jump into it, and I think it'll work, or hopefully it'll work. Yeah.
And if not, you're going to learn great things and then build on the next thing, as you said.
Phenomenal experiences.
Exactly, yeah.
Wonderful. So if we want to learn more about your company, if we want to get in touch with you, what is the best way to do that?
So you can go to www.mountain.co, so MNTN.co. That's our website. And so you can check out everything that we're working on there. We're also on Instagram @mountain_co. You can connect with us on LinkedIn. We're super active on LinkedIn. So just if you have any questions, you want to have a conversation or anything, we're here. We're absolutely here. We love reaching out to people and helping people all the time. So yeah, LinkedIn is a great way to do that as well.
You can also email us, Kristian@MNTN.co, and then me as Jake @MNTN.co. If you have any questions or anything you want to get to us a little bit faster, that's the way to do it.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for being with us today. I think it's very inspiring. You have a great journey. We can feel the dynamic over here, on the other side of the screen, on the other side of the podcast. So thanks a lot for your openness and for actually changing the world, because that is what you're doing. So thanks a lot for being part of this Canadian, entrepreneurship journey with us.
Well, thank you so much for having us, Sandra. It's a great opportunity, and we're very happy to be here.
Great. So we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.